y'all, it's Miss Winkleman. Today we're going to talk about secession. Secession is the gradual change in an ecosystem over time. There are two types. We're going to look at both of them. And at the last slide, you're going to have 5 questions that you're going to have to answer and take into your teacher tomorrow. So pay attention. I'm going to walk you through the PowerPoint. You need to take some notes. Make sure that you understand. We're going to practice it in class tomorrow. All right, here we are. Secession, again, it's the gradual change in an ecosystem over time. As I said, there are two types. There's primary secession, which occurs in an abiotic starting environment. That means there's no living things hanging around. We have no soil, no nothing. And then there's secondary secession, which occurs when there's some biotic factors left after a natural disaster like a fire or a flood that does not wipe out the soil and all of the living things. Primary secession. The first organisms to appear in primary secession are called pioneer organisms. They don't need existing soil and they can take root in rocks. These are things like mosses and lichens and algae. They grow and they begin to create a more normal environment. They create a soil that we refer to as humus, which is leaf litter. When the plants die or leaves fall off, they create this layer of soil on the rock. That humus allows for organisms who need soil to take root and begin to grow. The first thing that shows up after these pioneer organisms have laid down this layer of humus are larger plants like grasses and ferns. As the grasses and ferns grow, the ecosystem begins to progress. The soil gets thicker and larger trees are able to take root. This continues until we reach a climax community of large hardwood trees. The climax community is the most stable and will continue to exist until either humans cut down the trees or we have another natural disaster that creates or that starts this process over again. Here's the look at the primary secession. And remember, this process takes a long time, decades. It is not a fast process. If you look right here, you have the lichens and mosses on the exposed rock. Then you've got some small herbs that start to show up. You've got a real thick layer of humus here that allows some trees to start taking root. We've got mid-sized trees. And finally, the hardwood trees that make up our climax community. In contrast, secondary secession is quicker. It's not quick. It's just quicker. It begins with an event that disrupts an already established ecosystem, like a fire or a flood. Something that doesn't take out every living thing in the ecosystem. The soil is already present, and some seeds may still exist in that soil. It begins at the small shrubs and trees, and then it continues much like the primary secession until we reach that climax community. For a little visual representation, childlike though it may be, here we have some trees and a big fire that takes over. Wow! You've still got the soil present. So then we have the grasses, the small trees and shrubs, some medium-sized trees, and then our larger climax community that ends this, again, until humans or another natural disaster occurs. All right? So, here are some questions that you need to answer for tomorrow. Questions 2 turn in tomorrow. Name the 2 types of secession. Which process occurs more slowly? Define humus. And you can use the internet to do that if you would like. What are some examples of a pioneer species? And finally, just complete the sentence. Primary secession begins with A, either choose biotic or abiotic environment, while secondary secession begins with A, and then choose again biotic or abiotic environment. Turn these into your teacher tomorrow. Make sure that you've got a good grasp on the secession stuff. We're going to go over it. Remember, the test for this unit is next Wednesday, Thursday, so you need to make sure that you understand fully what we've just talked about. We'll practice it in class, of course, but I want you to know what's going on. When I say next Wednesday, Thursday, I mean October 2nd and 3rd. You will have the test on this ecosystem or ecology unit. Good luck. We'll see you soon.